Life moves fast, but here we hit pause. Welcome to Foxtails, a place where chaos fades and stories take over. Join us as we explore books that transport us from fantastical realms, heart pounding mysteries, swoon worthy romance, to stories that make us feel those real life connections. I'm Danny.
And I'm Jess.
It's time to grab your favorite drink, find a quiet spot, let's turn the page and disappear for a while. Okay, let's start with just maybe a little weekly check-in. How's life?
Okay.
How are things going?
Life is good. It's a hot day and I hate hot weather, but it's not bad.
I'm actually really excited for the warm weather. I'm ready for the change and for some sunshine. It'll be very nice. But right now, I don't know about the rest of the world, but we're dealing with some dog allergies, meaning our dog has allergies, not I'm allergic to dog, but he has gone on this like itching fit and now he's in a cone and this cone is causing him to run into everything. So
Is that what I heard a little bit ago?
yes. He doesn't understand the dimensions of this cone, so his face like goes straight into a wall and then he gets like paralyzed. He's like stuck. And so we have to tell him like back up. So it's been quite a ruckus, especially at night because you can hear him like moving with this cone.
Oh my God. I got woken up by my dog this morning because he was like scratching like crazy. And that's not like what he does. So I'm like, oh my God, he has fleas. And I'm paranoid about bugs. I hate bugs. So the first thing I do, I whip out my phone flashlight and I'm like pulling up, looking through his fur. He's a little Shih Tzu. He doesn't have long fur, but digging through his fur, trying to see if he has a flea somewhere because I'm convinced he woke me up with this. No, there's no fleas, and I know that he had his Simparica Trio recently, so I'm guessing he just has allergies to the area that we moved to because
Mhm.
he's not a scratcher, but this morning at 7 o'clock in the morning he was.
Why aren't you awake by then? That's my main question.
I am a night owl, and it has never changed. I go to bed late and I wake up late, and 7 o'clock is really early to wake up.
I would be
I got
so
mad at my husband when he was like making noise with his phone at like 8:15. Like, what are you doing? Why are you waking me up?
Well, he stays up late too, right? He's kind of
Yeah,
a
we're both
night
night
owl.
owls.
Well, I guess that works for your schedule. That just would not work in our house. That's not how we operate. I mean, we're definitely not up at the crack of dawn, but I don't know when the last time we slept past maybe 7:30.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we get up and we get moving. But God bless little Charlie. He's just not having it right now and I feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's hard not to yell at him. Like, you're annoying. Stop licking your paw.
Same. I made an appointment because of the noise that woke me up at 7 o'clock in the morning. I made an appointment with the doctor tomorrow so that I can figure out why he's itching because I'm not going to wake up every morning at 7 o'clock.
Yeah,
That's not possible.
Charlie just returned to the vent. Hence the cone and all the things. Whatever. That's just life, and I guess that's what happens.
Lord, we love our animals. We
Yes.
love our animals.
Yes.
But sometimes they act just like us. Little pains.
More than we like to admit. Okay. Song of the week. You have one for this episode?
Apparently,
Any
I'm the
thoughts?
only one who thinks about songs.
That's not true. That's not true. I think about songs all the time. I just didn't have a suggestion for this week.
Okay, something I learned before I reveal my song choice, something I learned is that Rebecca Yarros, the author of Fourth Wing,
Yes.
actually has a playlist on Spotify.
Oh, wow.
And so I was listening to it at work yesterday, and a lot of it has Halsey. And I know Halsey's going to be in our future. And I was like, oh my God, this totally fits Fourth Wing. And a lot of the songs that she chose, I mean, obviously she's the author. The songs that she chose match the book.
The vibe.
Exactly. So I just thought it was really cool. You should listen to
that's
it
cool.
if you have Spotify. Maybe I can link it in our Instagram.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. No, anything Halsey related, I'm all for it. I love her.
Yes.
She's fab.
She is.
So what's the song? Let's hear it.
Oh, I chose I Stand Alone by Godsmack because I feel like in this part of the book, she is sort of targeted, but also, and I don't want to reveal more of the book before we get there, but I think things change and she can feel very much alone in this journey.
Okay, I could see that. I could definitely see that. Well, that's a perfect segue because right now, if you're listening and you haven't gotten through these chapters, which is chapters 12 through 20, then go ahead, maybe switch us off, come back when you're done because there will be some major reveals and I don't want to ruin it for you. So, without
Big
further ado,
reveals.
yeah,
There is
big
so much
reveals.
that happened in these chapters.
Yeah, it's not small. So if you haven't read this, please, we don't want to spoil it for you, but tune back in. We'd love to have you join us after you've read it. Or if you really don't care and you just want to know what the fourth wing is about, feel free to stay. So without further ado, here we go. Part 2, Adaptation, which I think is the perfect title for this segment of chapters. We immediately move from conquering the gauntlet, and now all of the cadets are going through, I don't know what you would call it, but all the dragons are lined up. And everyone who has survived the gauntlet is now being, for lack of better words, inspected by the dragons as they pass through.
I think that's exactly how I would put it is I know the purpose of it is for the cadets to view the dragons and see the possibilities of creating a bond, but at the same time, I kind of feel like this is for the dragons 100%
Yes.
because they are being watched by the dragons, and one small move that the dragons don't like is gonna turn out very badly.
Well, that does happen. That's exactly what happens. So through the inspection process, that's what I'm going to call it, is they're going through, dragons are looking at them, they're looking at dragons, kind of like a little shopping sesh. And I think everybody's kind of feeling each other out. But one person must not muster up to what the dragons like and now becomes a crispy critter right in front of everybody. Just
Crispy.
done. Donezo. And after this happens, the dragons start to take a little closer look at Violet. But Violet, for some reason, is able to remain very calm because we know at this point dragons can kind of read thoughts and they're able to, or I should say, more like emotionally intelligent. So
Yes.
they're able to pick up on things just like animals are, right? They're able to pick up on things that humans can't. And dragons seem to have a large interest in Violet. And this kind of freaks her out as she's being inspected. But for some reason, she's able to breeze right through, nothing happens, and she's able to not become another crispy critter on this little venture.
I think it's interesting because as she's walking, there's definitely interest, and it's said in the book that it's perhaps the dragon scale vest that she's wearing that may be
Mm,
causing that for them to investigate. Maybe they smell it or something like that. But the fact that they step in the path and just investigate her and trying to figure her out was a really interesting scene because it's quite terrifying when you think of the size of dragons and the fact that somebody just got incinerated in front of her
right.
and she has to keep her cool because you make one wrong step and you're also going to be the next one dead.
Well, and also why her? Like there's a line of people going through, but why the
Mhm.
interest in her? So that kind of,
Mhm.
maybe piqued my curiosity at this point in the book. But after they get through this whole shopping inspection, whatever you want to call it, I don't know, they now it's time to move on to the threshing, which is
Yes.
the huge main event that everybody is trained and waiting for. This is where dragons and riders, they kind of choose each other. But we know dragons ultimately are the ones who choose the rider. But I feel like it has to be somewhat mutual. There's like a connection there.
Agree. There's definitely a bond that happens between the writers and the dragons. And what is so intense about this part is there are more cadets than there are dragons.
Right.
And so we know at the end there are people who are not going to be bonded to their dragons. So this is going to turn into a lot of jealousy, a lot of people who know that the bond is not 100% yet, especially at the beginning, who's maybe trying to kill other people so that they could get
Right.
bonded. Because if you don't, you have to go through all of this again.
And I think this is very important a concept too, because Violet, again, at this point, still is viewed as somewhat physically weaker. We know that her mental capability is there. She did pass the gauntlet and had that little scuffle with Amber, but at this point, she's just proven that her mind is very advanced. But her physical, we haven't measured that out yet. And a lot of bonding with the dragon is a physical thing,
Mhm.
being able to like get up on the dragon and all this, and I think people are counting on Violet failing at this point. And so I think she has a lot of pressure on herself that I don't want to have to do this whole training thing all over again. I will definitely be the weakest one out there. I don't think a dragon's going to bond with me. She has a lot of self-doubt at this point. And a
Right.
perfect segue, to what you were saying, the song by Godsmack, I Stand Alone. She's just feeling very much like an island by herself.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah.
And I think it's really interesting that we go straight into this threshing, and immediately she overhears this group of assholes, Jack included. Of course, we knew we hated him to begin with.
Yeah.
And they're talking about going to kill the small dragon that they viewed when they went through like the little dragon museum. And they noticed that there was one that was smaller. And this group of people are planning to go and kill this tiny dragon. And my first thought is, well, one, how dare you? I
Mhm.
love animals, and the fact that this is potentially somebody's bonded dragon and you're about to take it out, like, that is ridiculous. But then at the same time, isn't your sole purpose right now to go find yourself a dragon? Why are you wasting time?
I think that's an interesting I agree with both of those points of view, but for me, my initial thought is all these dragons are watching you. And if you
Mhm.
kill one of their own, that classifies you in a whole nother level of just incompetence. Because the dragons the goal is, like you said, to be bonded to a dragon. And you think that killing one of the dragons is going to make you a better selection than any of the other cadets? I don't think so.
Right, right. How does that make you stand out as somebody, an honorable person who deserves a dragon? It doesn't.
Right. So I'm at this point, I'm thinking, okay, what's happening here? Why are they, what's the purpose of this? What are they doing? And of course, Violet, it pulls at her heartstrings because she's a good moral person. She
Mhm.
follows this group of killers
Yes.
to see what's going to happen with Dragon. And of course, Violet finds herself intervening in this situation.
And I think we would too. So if you think of it in
Yeah.
a situation and we hear a group of people talking about going and picking on a dog or cat, we're going to be the first ones to be like, well, forget whatever it was I was just doing because I need to go save this animal.
Yes, I don't. I am one of those people who will absolutely. I carry a leash in my car, an extra one, so that way I can go capture loose dogs.
Yes, yes, you have to save them. They deserve a better life.
Yeah, Jeff absolutely he's gotten used to it now, but at first he wasn't on board with it, but you'll find that I'll be posting animals in our little local area that I've found and picked up and tried to
Yes,
return home. But
they
anyway,
deserve it. And
yes,
this little dragon deserves it too. So I'm
yes.
100% on Violet's side. Yes, go save the dragon. Go warn it. Do whatever you can to protect it.
So in the midst of her trying to save this dragon, none other than Xaden shows up. But unfortunately, Xaden isn't able to intervene in this situation. He has to kind of be a bystander and let things play out because leaders aren't allowed to interfere with the cadets in the whole process of threshing. And he knows that. So he kind of has to just take a back seat and view what's going on. And as he's watching, of course, Jack, he musters up whatever he does to attack this small dragon. And Violet does not disappoint. She stabs him,
Absolutely. You go, girl.
right? And I'm actually kind of shocked that Violet is able to do this because Jack is actually fairly accomplished in the sparring matches. So Violet is able to outwit Jack and stabs him. Now, the people then, of course, start to turn on Violet and attack her.
Mhm.
And as all this is happening, a dragon appears, but not just
Not just
a
yeah,
dragon.
not
It's
just a
the
dragon.
it's the black dragon, the one everyone's talking about, the one that hasn't been bonded in a long time, the pinnacle of all dragons, the jealousy, and um he tells Violet, "Go ahead, just step aside for a moment." And at this point we're like, "Oh my gosh, the dragon is talking to her. This means
Mhm.
something." And of course, the dragon retaliates of this killing that's going on, and Violet stepping in and burns Teenan to an absolute crisp. So we have two crispies thus far.
Already. It's really interesting this part because I was almost convinced when she's going to save the small dragon, I thought that that was going to be her bonded dragon. I thought
Yes.
her making the move to save the small dragon was going to be result in a bond. And in fact, that's not what happens. And
No.
this huge dragon steps in, introduces himself as Tairn, and I think she realizes after, he burns somebody to a crisp and he is talking to her and introduces himself that she's been chosen by an extremely powerful dragon.
And I love this because I also kind of was on the same page as you. I thought that maybe the smaller dragon was going to be the one that she bonded with just because of saving, and it was this whole thing. So I thought, oh, well, that's going to happen. Maybe the dragon will be saved. And there we go. She has a
Mhm.
small dragon, but maybe it has a really cool power. We don't know.
Mhm.
But Taryn, after introducing himself, lets her know that he chose her because she was smart and protected a small dragon. So, like I said, the dragons are watching your moves, they're studying you.
And I think this really shows that the dragons are paying attention to everything. And they're
Hmm.
not just studying Violet, they're studying everybody.
Absolutely. And I love this part. This is probably my favorite. So, when they get back, they have to go back and report who they've been bonded to.
Mhm.
So, the writers report to the leaders who they've been bonded to. Violet approaches the roll call table to share that she has been bonded to Tarn. And as she's preparing to tell the leaders that she's been bonded to Tarn, the little dragon also speaks up and instructs Violet to include her in the roll call of who she's been bonded to. So at this point, everyone's like, well, not everyone, I should say me. I'm like, what's going on? So she's bonded to Tarn and the little dragon, which we known as
2.
Andarna. And I think this is when all hell breaks loose. It's chaos.
Absolutely.
Because,
Absolutely. Can you imagine? Especially somebody who is Violet, somebody who is viewed as weak, who is viewed as inferior, and she comes in and says, "Yeah, I'm bonded to Tairn, the most powerful dragon. And also, by the way, this little one too, that's mine as well."
and this is not done. We have to everyone's bonded to just one dragon. So
Mhm.
having two, one of the most powerful plus a little tiny small one, uh, Violet, I think she's struggling with herself. She doesn't know how to approach this with the leaders as she's telling them. It's a whole inner struggle, but the dragons kind of rule the roost. They tell the humans how things are going to be done. So she knows that she has to do this.
Yes, and we find out how much power the dragons actually have because we know that this double bond has never happened before. And we also realize that it is not up to the generals to decide whether this can happen. This is a dragon choice, and they decide whether it
Yeah,
happens.
they have
And
their
you know
own.
what? They approve, of course.
Of course they do. I love that the dragons have their own like political system outside of the
Mhm.
humans. So they do a little meet and confer to decide if this is allowable. And of course it comes back, yes, it is allowable. The dragons say so. So therefore, humans must accept that this is something that's allowable.
I think it's interesting that during this time, while they're waiting for the dragon meeting to happen, that Dane steps in and he tells Violet which which dragon she needs to bond with. And so he suggests that she chooses the small dragon.
I
And I'm
think
like,
he's
"What?
jealous. He's jealous.
Maybe. Because
I,
he's just continually proving what a jerk he is and how little faith he has in her. And then you're stepping in and saying that she's not good enough to have the most powerful dragon? Back off."
yeah, Dane, we don't like you. We've never liked you, or else at least I haven't. I'm done.
Mhm.
I'm way done at this point with him. But Violet also learns that Taryn, and I'm not sure how to say this. Help me out.
I think it's scale.
Scale. Okay, that's how we're saying it. Don't hate
Okay.
us. So Taryn and Scale are a mated pair.
But
And
wait, who is scale? Inform
right.
us.
So Scale is Xaden's dragon. So
Mhm.
Taryn and Scale are mated dragons, and Scale is Xaden's dragon. So you
Mhm.
can, now that we've repeated that, you can make your own connections. But they can't be separated for long periods of time. The dragons, that is. She also learns that the bonds between dragons and riders are extremely strong, leading to death if either one of them happen to get hurt or whatever it is. So they're bonded in the most intricate ways.
Mhm.
Xaden and Violet, Scale and Taryn. So the four of them all connected now. She also learns how strong her dragon is and that she would most likely become a huge target. And Taryn is a dragon that everybody wants. So she's a target. She's now paired with Xaden just because of their dragons' connections to each other.
Right, and it's so interesting when you really think about how stuck they are together because Taryn and Scale are not going to separate. They are a mated pair for life. And the fact that the bond between the human and the dragon is so strong, this is a lifetime thing that is happening. And she is stuck with Xaden, whether she likes it or not. And after this, the dragons, this is a lot to take in. The dragons, of course, say that the double bond is okay. And you know who rushes in to be like, "Oh, congratulations. I'm so proud of you." It's none other than Dane himself. You just 2 seconds ago had no faith in her and told her she couldn't do it. And now that the dragons approve of it, you're like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you. I knew you could do it. You know what you want? You want to give me a kiss, don't you?"
And you know what? He has some serious guts to do this because
Mhm.
it's not like Violet is giving off any sort of vibe that she wants that kind of relationship with Dane. But Dane goes in for a kiss, and Violet's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's really gross. It's like kissing, I don't know,
Brother.
brother. Yeah, cousin. I don't know. Something gross. Like she's doesn't want it. And she feels a little bit like, okay, well, I'm glad that's kind of over because I think at one point there was a curiosity in Violet's mind
Yes.
as if there kind of considering would there be a relationship with Dane just because of their history. And she realizes at that point, one, Dane's been annoying her, so I can imagine that the kiss is the last thing that she wants.
Mhm.
But also, she realizes this is nothing more than maybe a friendship. And that's a big maybe at this point, just because of how Dane is acting.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, especially after he has the balls to do that, I'm just over him 100%. If I wasn't over him to begin with, I'm over him now. And it's interesting how we see at this point the turning point in Violet's kind of path so far, where she changes from a target to a threat.
Oh, yeah.
And it just seemed to happen so fast, where it was like everyone was picking on her
Hmm.
and targeting her to, I think, kind of being scared of her. And I think it's for many reasons. I think one, she has a super powerful dragon who can burn any of them to a crisp at any moment. And also, her dragon is tied to an extremely powerful wing leader, which is Xaden.
Yes. Absolutely. And I think that at this point, people want to try maybe to be a little bit closer and friendlier to her because she now, like you said, is a threat. So, you know, keep your friends close, keep your enemies closer kind of thing. So, Violet is offered help in the sparring gym. And Taryn also helps Violet learn how to be a writer because she's continually falling off of him. So that's a big span of time that we've just stretched over in that one sentence, but that's kind of what happens.
Mhm.
She's gaining more strength in sparring. Taryn's teaching her how to be a great writer because her stature doesn't allow her to ride this monstrous dragon like everyone else is able to. And so her physical capabilities are trying to be strengthened. And that's kind of where her new focus is. She's got the whole academia and mental portion down. Now we just need to work on her physical strength.
I think of how terrifying it is that she is continuously falling off of her dragon, and
Oh,
she has to
right.
have so much trust in him to just be like, "Okay, well, let me pick you up and let's try again." Like, what if he one time chooses not to save her?
It's true. You know, this whole thing kind of made me think about is How to Train Your Dragon. Do you like that movie?
It's cute. I haven't seen the live action one, but
I
the
haven't
cartoon
either.
is cute.
I haven't seen the live action, but the cartoon, it made me think of Toothless and Hiccup because Toothless is the, really all powerful dragon and Hiccup
Mhm.
is kind of like the nerdy kid that nobody thinks can do anything. It's not the same concept. They didn't like choose each other. Hiccup helps Toothless, but I think in the same way, Toothless helps Hiccup become this recognizable person, as somebody who can ride dragons, befriend them in a way that other people didn't know how to. And I kind of think of Violet as a little bit like Hiccup. She's able
Aw,
to, kind of connect to dragons in a different way. She tried to save them and intervene. And so I think she's viewed a little bit differently than most of the other riders. And maybe that's why Taryn is more willing to help because some of the other dragons, they wouldn't go out of their way to save their riders. If they
right,
didn't feel that bond right away and they didn't feel connection, they would just move on to another writer and they're okay with that.
right.
And Taryn is taking time to train her and to be such a powerful dragon and take the time to train her. There's something much deeper going on. He
I
knows something more.
agree, and it's interesting because we're learning that in this bonding, you also get what's called a signet. Is that how you would say it? Signet?
Yes. Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're also seeing how quickly these signets appear between the in the cadets because once you're bonded with a dragon, you get this power. We said that Dane can read somebody's minds when he touches them. We said that Xaden is a shadow wielder. So we know that there's signets happening and they're starting to appear. And even though Violet's bond is getting stronger, she's not seeing her signet awoken just yet.
Correct. But there are some signets that are showing. And one that I thought was really interesting is one of the cadets is able to hear different people's thoughts. And this is apparently a very dangerous signet to have. And we find out that he is quickly silenced and honestly killed off. So it made me think. I think Violet, too, at this point, she's a little bit scared about, well, what happens when my signet appears? And what happens to me if my signet is something that's a threat to other people? Am I going to get killed off?
Right. And it makes you curious as to, I think it really is in how you are displaying the signet once it appears.
Hmm.
Because, like I said, Dane, when he touches somebody, he can read their mind. And he actually, he said that before. But his power, he's not silenced for it. He's not killed off like this other cadet. This other cadet hears thoughts of people and is
Yes.
saying them out loud.
Right. Right.
And I don't know if it's like you get your signet and you can't control you have to learn how to control it. But it's
Possibly.
interesting how they have similar powers, but the cadet was killed immediately once his was shown.
You're right. It sounds like maybe they have to learn how to harness their powers and how
Mhm.
to kind of control them. During this whole time, Violet is assigned to the archives, a place that she knows and calls home. So that's what she
Mhm.
wanted to be as a scribe. But as she's going through her assignment, she realizes that maybe she was meant to be a writer through all this, even through all the scariness with signets and, unpredictability, everything. She realizes, I think that maybe I am meant to be a writer. This is for me. And I could be more than just a scribe. Not that it's just a scribe, but you know what I mean. And she also learns that maybe there's a little bit more information that is being kept from everybody as she's trying to go, as she goes through the archives and she's discovering different things. She's starting to realize that this world that she lives in may not be the full, she might not have the full knowledge of what's actually going on, even though her mom's a general.
Yes, and what I thought was interesting in this part when she was in the archives and she was looking for a book that her dad gave her that she read. And in the archives, it doesn't exist. And the archives are
Mhm.
supposed to have everything
Mhm.
available to the public. And she realizes that this thing that she had from her dad does not exist as public information in the archives. And so she's starting to question what she has been taught her whole life by her mom, who is the general. And I'm also starting to question as what are they hiding? Because there is information that they're not putting out there for people. And Violet just happens to know because her dad was a scribe.
Absolutely. And I think this makes Violet a more, she's a very complex character, to be honest, because she
Mhm.
has a lot of emotional ups and downs. Just everything about her, she's very unsettled. And as she's going and doing her jobs and everything, you still have to stick to a routine. She still has to go eat with everybody. She has to, you know, go through the same classes, do everything the same, but she's having a real big internal struggle with all this information that she knows, what she's realizing, who chose her as her, her dragon, and all this. So she has a lot going on. And as she's going through her daily routine, Violet, of course, goes back to her room, goes to sleep. But in the middle of the night, she's awoken by Taryn's voice. And we know that dragons communicate to their riders, not necessarily audibly, but through their thoughts. And as she's awoken, she realizes when she wakes up that there is not one, not two, but seven people in her room ready to attack.
And it is insane. So, woken up by the voice of your dragon, people are there to kill you, most likely because they want your dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And what I love about this point, there's not anything anybody can do. Violet can fight for her life, but she
Mm-hmm.
hears little Endarna's voice, and Endarna stops time so that Violet can be saved.
So we know that Indarna, our little small dragon, is able to use her power to save Violet.
And even Xaden mentions, because of course Xaden shows up, he uses
Mm-hmm.
his shadow powers to remove everybody from the room and save Violet, our little hero. Here you are. Of course, you step in
Mm-hmm.
and save me.
You know it.
And he doesn't even realize what happened. He's like, one moment there were people on you, the next you were somewhere else. So he's like, what, you need to tell me what happened, because he's now trying to figure out, and maybe he's thinking that her signet has appeared or something like that. And he's demanding to know what happened and learns of little Endarna's powers as well.
And I think it's really interesting how they decide to move forward with all of this because they learn of Andarna's powers, but they also know because she's a small dragon that her powers and what she's capable of and how it affects her, it's kind of unpredictable because they don't really have much on dragons that young being able to use certain powers. So they decide once again it would be best to keep a secret. These two got a lot of secrets between each other. A lot.
They do. They have so many secrets that they are sharing, especially with something this information is extremely critical, where the moment that somebody realizes that younger dragons hold this much power, the dragons are gone. My mind. People go and they try to use them inappropriately. We know that Endarna is really weak after this happens. She uses
Yes.
all of her energy and all of her strength to save Violet. And I can just see quickly the dragons disappearing once people learn of that.
Absolutely.
So keep it
So
quiet.
So they're protecting not only themselves but their dragons, which I think is really cool. And of course, another secret binding the two of them together. There's just a lot of things happening in this book that's causing the forces for them to be kept together, which I'm not upset with. I'm not gonna lie.
Mhm.
But Xaden also is very adamant about knowing who opened the door to Violet's room, because she's able to tell him that she knows, and she's very reluctant to say it. But at last, she tells him. And through this process, Xaden thinks it's best to assign one of his trusted comrades, Liam, to stay with Violet and kind of protect her.
And during this time, Xaden tells everybody about the illegal attack. So it was illegal. Somebody entered her chambers, not just somebody of power, a higher up, entered her bedchambers and attacked her. And it was none other than Amber.
Yeah, we hate her.
The person who literally just accused her of cheating did something illegal entering her room,
Right?
probably with the anticipation that she was going to end up dead. So didn't think that there would be any trace back to her. And what I think is so frustrating in this moment is that of anybody, Dane does not believe her. Amber is his friend. They have shared some sort of connection in the past, and he doesn't believe her and asks Violet to see her memories. Like, you need to prove it to me that Amber did this. And of course she's like, no, of course you can't see my memories. But what is more interesting is that Xaden believes her. So at this point, Xaden has far surpassed Dane in any way. And Xaden believes her. Dane is insisting that she misremembered. And guess what, Dane? You are wrong. And you know who had to show Dane? It was Taryn. Taryn actually had to tell Dane that, somehow show him. I don't think they could speak telepathically, but
Right.
in some way, Taryn was able to share or show that Amber was in fact the one that
At,
entered the room.
at this point, I bet Dane is just feeling like so, I don't know, inferior, because he's so combative about it, and he's making
Mhm.
a scene, and then he's just proven wrong in front of everybody. And of course, it's Amber, somebody who he's kind of close to. So I think this is perfect to put Dane in his place. I'm okay with this form of public humiliation for him because it needs to
Yes.
happen. But
Yes.
Amber, this isn't just, we didn't just let it go, kind of like with the whole accusation thing previously. No, no, no. Amber is condemned to death. And how is she condemned to death?
By Taryn.
Mm-hmm.
Well, by crispation.
Crispation. That's perfect. Oh, I think this is a perfect. This is where everything kind of ends for us. It's a very There's a lot that happens in these chapters.
Yes. I just really quickly before we move on is I think during this time when Amber died, which I was 100% for, like, yes, crisp her all you want, Taryn. But at the same time, the mourning of her dragon, and I just really
Yeah,
felt in that moment how intense that connection is between the people and their dragons,
right.
because you can feel it through the words in the book is the
Yes,
mourning of that dragon as she is dying.
that's true. It is really sad, but at the same time, Amber, you deserved it. I'm not sorry for you.
Absolutely. Bye.
Now, I have to say, my predictions are going to be, now that I know that there's more of a connection between Xaden and Violet, something's going to happen between them. This is where some sort of romance happens. It has to.
Okay, I think it's kind of expected at this point, considering the fact that their dragons are bonded. So, I mean, it just makes sense.
It does, but this book has been full of twists and turns, so I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't happen as well. I'm hopeful, but we could go the other way with things. Xaden could really be a bad guy and just using all of this to manipulate Violet. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know
True.
how his signet works or how different things, how the dragons might be conspiring. I don't know. They don't like General Sorengel, so maybe it's all
True.
part of a plot. But
True.
I am happy that Violet has realized Dane is not the romantic partner that she wants, and she has moved on past that. And I'm very ecstatic that she's been bonded with this super powerful dragon, and now she's ready to kick some booty.
I'm excited to see what happens. I would not be upset if Dane also got crisped at some point. That wouldn't make me mad. I would be rejoicing as I am reading if that happens. So that
If
is a
Dane,
hopeful. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't know. I'm just hopeful that maybe it does.
you're saying if Dane got crispied?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. Well, I wasn't
Maybe
going to go
maybe
that
by
far.
Xaden's dragon.
Oh, wow. Wouldn't that be crazy? Oh, wow. Okay. Well, if you're we hope you're enjoying this because we're really loving this book. So next week we're going to be covering chapters 21 through 25. Now that seems like a very small amount of chapters, but it's covers a lot. So I think that it's best to chunk it up in that small bit. What do you think?
Agree. There's so much that happened in just these 8 chapters. I think the next taking it a little bit slower is gonna be a good idea.
Okay, perfect. So next time that we meet, chapters 21 through 25 of the Fourth Wing. And as we close today's chapter, remember this. Whether you were escaping for comfort, courage, or just a little quiet, books are always waiting for us. So until next time, keep turning those pages and don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, all the things. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Instagram. I'm Danny,
And I'm Jess.
and this is Foxtails.